Good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. My name is Doug Brunke. I am the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. I think I'm actually on the stage right now in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, at an event that Global Chamber is doing with the president of Tanzania. And I did the recording a few days ago. So I'm there and I'm here. And I'm really glad to be here because this is an amazing topic with an extraordinary group of people who are going to be introducing with our first presentation on Oman. We've done a number of other meetings around opportunities in the Middle East, and now Oman comes to the front of the stage. And I couldn't think of a better group of people than who we have assembled today. From us kicking off with Rebecca Olson, who's the CEO at the Oman American Business Council, and then she'll introduce a couple of her people. We'll also have Adel Alawadi, who's our leader based out of Dubai, who has and his team having a broader reach across the region, and he'll wrap us up in the last few minutes to give some perspective on Oman and the rest of the region. And so I think what you're going to get out of today is a lot of great information. You're going to have an opportunity for Q&A. You'll hear the wrap up with Adele, and you'll walk away with your mind expanded and maybe exploding in all sorts of good ways. And so thank you, Rebecca, for your membership in Global Chamber and your support. Love what you guys are doing. Love the fact that you're right in the middle of so much opportunity. And so when we were speaking a few weeks ago and you were going through some of those opportunities, it was just so exciting. And so I know it's going to be a great presentation. I know you've got a lot of wonderful information. You and I have a shared background in upstate New York, which is kind of cool. And here you are with your expertise on Oman. Thank you for your leadership, and we look forward to learning more.
Thank you so much, Doug. I am a new member of Global Chamber, and my team and I were all very excited to see Oman in the limelight today. You mentioned correctly that often we see Saudi and UAE getting their moment constantly, and now today's our day. So we're very excited. There's three of us. I'm going to do kind of a hold on the opportunities for the beginning and do Oman 101. You know, being back in Rochester, I realize how many people just have no idea where this country is or what it is. So we're going to start a bit basic. So if there's people on the call, you know, who live there already or know about it, you just bear with us, and then we'll get into the opportunities. So if we can go to the next slide, Harshal. I have been with OABC, just a bit about me, for around 7-8 years, and I've lived in Muscat, the capital of Oman, for 12 years. And I just really enjoy the part of my job where I get to tell people how great the Sultanate is, both for doing business and also just for building a really good life. I've had 3 kids in my time in Oman, and they never want to leave. And so thank you for your time today. And I think this is just a slide here to remind you to join or connect with me on LinkedIn. So, you know, if you are a LinkedIn user, you could just, it's pretty easy to find me. I don't have a QR code or anything, but let's be friends. Okay, so here's Oman at a glance. Just a few quick facts to kind of set the scene. Oman is a country in the Arab Peninsula. It's in the GCC, part of the Middle East. It's about 75% the size of California, with a huge coastline of 3,000 kilometers and a population of 5.3 million. You can see the median age is 29. So it's a really young, productive country that did discover oil like the rest of the GCC in the 60s, and then rapidly developed. So His Majesty Sultan Qaboos gave his life to making extensive investments in infrastructure, incredible roads, hospitals, schools, everything. But everything is quite new in that regard. There's more than 40 colleges and universities with 32,000 graduates annually. So this is great for companies that are looking to come in and are looking for talent. The GDP last year in 2023 was about 108.5 billion with a per capita here around 21.5. So it's a growing, you can read after this call about how positive the environment is, things that are changing for the better, the Vision 2040. We don't have time for all of it today, but I think you can see as well that the Omani Rial is a very strong currency. It's pegged to the dollar, so that provides additional stability for investors. Telecom coverage, it's almost 100%, 99%. And finally, the most important thing I see, even the government, when they're talking about themselves and they're traveling the world and saying, why come here? They're always talking about the location. So we are outside the Strait of Hormuz. Nearly 20% of the world's oil shipments pass through there every day. And we share our land borders with UAE, Saudi, and Yemen. But you can get very easily from Oman to East Africa, to that market that's growing, and to India, which is it's really a gateway. I would say out of the whole region, has this prime location, which we'll get to in a few minutes. Now, it's impossible really to give you a bird's eye view of everything without talking about Oman's role as a peacemaker in the region. So they have an incredible relationship with just about every country on the planet. Some people call Oman the Switzerland of the Middle East. And we just hosted the series of US-Iran nuclear talks with Steve Witkoff. And really, they're just constantly playing this role of mediator and friend. And I think that that's important to speak about. But now I wanted to, if we go to the next slide, just for a moment, because I am an American and this is the US Oman Business Council, I thought I would just briefly mention the historic relationship that many people don't know about. You can see here all the way in 1790, the Boston Rambler sailed to Muscat. That was the first time coming to the region with something like this. And then they came in 1833. Oman sent the Sultana, in 1840, bringing, many people don't know this either, all these gifts like pearls and horses, to the point where President Van Buren had to ask Congress, can I accept all these gifts? And they were like, no. And by the way, we're making rules. So all these rules about what people in government can accept, this came from Oman over gifting. And so you have this very strong relationship, this Treaty of Amity and Commerce. And the ties have grown. So we have military cooperation, trade agreements. But really, if we can move to the next slide, it kind of culminated in this US Oman Free Trade Agreement. This is important because in the region, in the world, the US only has 20 countries it has free trade with. In the MENA region, you have Jordan, Bahrain, Oman, and Morocco. So it's only 4.
Sorry, with the current situation, these free trades do not exist.
Good comment. I have notes on that. So in short, before all this happened with our new president, US goods are going to enter Oman duty free. And Omani goods come to the US duty free. It doesn't expire. And now with this changing landscape, most of us who are in this kind of realm of doing this every day have decided that in some ways it's good for Oman. Because of the instability, I think companies that maybe were manufacturing somewhere like China are looking for somewhere with kind of an expectation of some sort of agreement where 10% right now is the max. There's 2 caveats here. One, steel and aluminum is 50%. It's a big export for Oman's aluminum to the US. And that's made some people really annoyed that now it's so high. It's because it's not really a tariff. It's Section 232. It's an old law that was dug up and it doesn't sit under the FTA. We don't need to get into it, but basically steel and aluminum were hit with the changes. And then this 10% is unexpected. But if you think about it, like UAE and Saudi also have the 10% base. So many people said, well, what separates Oman then? We've lost the advantage. The free trade agreement is dead. It's not true because everything that was there before remains. So let's say you're sending dates. They're almost 6% tariff. So from Oman, you're going to have a maximum of 10, whereas in UAE, you'll be closer to 16% if you send dates. So it's still there. But we're always looking at, as OABC, are the high tariff items that were high even under the Biden administration. So like medical supplies and plastics, which we're good at making plastic stuff in Oman. We have a lot of chemical downstream, like medical grade plastic. So if you make syringes or something that even the other party was putting high tariffs on, that's a pretty stable place to look for what you should be sending. Okay, so I'm just going to move quickly along because we have a lot to cover. Yeah, also good to note that service exports are unaffected by the tariffs. And let's go. Oh, perfect. We're here on this slide. Great. So it's just important to say that Oman does have 5 FTAs. If you set up a manufacturing facility, you can export to the whole GCC duty free as well. But if anyone on the call is unaware, you need to transform your product. You can't bring something Chinese and then slap a made in Oman sticker on it. You do need to transform things 35%. So it's a complicated formula. Basically spend 35% of the value in Oman on doing something to it, making it into a date bar or weaving it into something, and you get the idea. Let's move on. You can see the FTA slide. We'll be sending these slides later if anyone's interested to receive them. All right. So in 2024, you can see our exports totaled around $2 billion. Oman's exports back to the US reached 1.3 billion. It has been growing, but I'll tell you, when you say in Arabic, salam alaikum, people are supposed to reply with alaikum assalam. And I sometimes feel like when I say US Oman free trade agreement, whoever I'm talking to is supposed to say, but no one's really using it, which isn't fair because there has been growth. But yes, it's underutilized. There was a point where I looked at the data in Jordan and they'd gone up something like 800% in their exports to the US. So we have so much growth that could happen because of the free trade agreement and where it's not being utilized. Interestingly, there's not a huge market in the Middle East for alcoholic beverages, but as an example, we informed the importers that yes, there's a new tax coming in, but a new duty for alcohol that was hitting the market. I said, but you get from the US, it's only oh Harshal, something happened to your slides. There you go. What we found was that we told them, you get duty free, and they said, are you kidding? We didn't know about this. And then they changed their whole business model and brought 80%. It had been something like 20% of their products. These are both the big alcohol distributors in Oman. They brought 80% US products because they're 40% cheaper than everything else. And so now when we shop, if you're into that and you shop in Oman for that product, you'll see mainly American stuff and it's 40% cheaper than everything else. So I've seen once people catch on, there can be some movement, but not everyone still knows about this. And it only impacts and is an opportunity if the item had a high tariff in the first place. Otherwise, it's not important. And one more thing is that it's not only US and Omani companies that can take advantage of the FTA, of importing, exporting, manufacturing. We're really trying to encourage, Pakistani, Indian, American companies that have been in China, Turkish, all over the world, companies to come in, set up in a free zone or set up in the country, and then export to the US and reach the world's largest market duty free. And when we talk about the Omani market, it's never going to be you set up your whole business just to distribute in Oman. I just showed you there's only 5 million people. So it should be really thought of as a place that's a soft landing pad to reach the rest of the region. Okay, now we can move on to the next slide. So some people say, well, is Oman asking people to just come and invest, or are there actual incentives? Of course, there are incentives for investors. There's around taxes or land, but there's also actually funding now. The government is very serious. Well, His Majesty is serious about co-funding real projects that will boost the economy beyond oil and gas. So we have what's called the Oman Investment Authority. It's the sovereign wealth fund. And under them, they have many, many hundreds of subsidiaries. They set up the Future Fund, I think it was April last year, of around $5 billion. And the idea is anything that's not real estate or oil and gas is an option. Tiny projects that haven't even been started yet to huge projects. They want to do 40%, but you need to do the stuff in Oman. So as an example, I love to share this example. There was a gentleman in Silicon Valley who came to Oman and said, look, the world doesn't have enough semiconductor design engineers. I'm not talking about like manufacturing or advanced assembly, just designing the chips. And Omanis need jobs, and we're trying to diversify. So I'm going to set up a training institute and a company where we're designing chips. And I want to hire 100 Omanis and I'm going to train them. Of course, ITHCA, which sits under OIA, was like, take our money. So there's really a lot of opportunities if you can think creatively about how could I employ people. And not only will you have red tape cut or an opportunity to do something, but you'll actually have funding from the Future Fund, and you apply on their website, and our team loves to help with that. And agriculture, tourism, and any kind of sector you can think of, and they're really open and they get back quite quickly. I think now they've already assigned around 180 million, which is nothing. And they were like, help us give away the rest. I was like, I would love to help you give away the rest, no problem. Now, just in closing from my part, before I hand things off to Isa, I wanted to just kind of mention that there's a lot of ways to look at doing business in Oman. There's setting up your own office, your own clinic, your own branch center, moving there to live or work. Then there's getting a job here for a multinational company. My husband's a CFO. He has a great work-life balance. But there's also like for investors, there's bringing any kind of unique technology or a brand, bringing it to like a big Omani family company, partnering with their wide network for greater impact or reach. You could do JV partnership, distribution agreements. There's franchise models. There's tenders. There's public-private partnerships where you know what you're getting into in health or food security. You could also, like I just said on the last slide, you could invest and work directly with the sovereign fund to co-invest. And you can use Oman as a soft landing pad to reach the region. I guess for me, what keeps me there is the neutrality. You know, they avoid the conflicts. It's peaceful. You really feel it when you kind of land. I mean, Issa's going to talk about the airport. There's no better airport on the planet. I get out of the airport in like 10 minutes, and you just walk in and you can just feel the difference. Omani's, in the end, business is about people, as I'm sure Doug probably says all the time on these calls. But Omanis are just known for their really deep hospitality, their humility. If you Google, you can see the reputation of these people. And that's, I think, what sets Oman apart the most, personally. One other thing is you can see this building. Oman doesn't have tall skyscrapers. They're not trying to chase after everything. What I find is if you're sick of the competition of Dubai or now Riyadh, it's nice to go to a place that's like kind of protecting their heritage and making a plan and sticking to it and kind of playing the long game, where also you won't have the same amount of competition, but you've got other people who are interested to be there. But anyways, that's it from me for now. I'm still here. I'm here for Q&A if we have time at the end. And I'd like to hand things off to Isa, if we can go to the next slide. He is our Trade and Investment Officer. He's a highly skilled professional who just recently graduated from University of Delaware. He's very passionate about helping other people navigate trade and investment. He's a lifelong learner, and he's Omani. So maybe for some of you, he'll be the first Omani you meet. So thank you, Isa. You can take it away.
Yes, good morning to everyone joining us from the United States, and good afternoon or evening to our guests around the world. So as Rebecca mentioned, my name is Isa Raisi, and I serve as a Trade and Investment Support Officer at the OABC. And also, I hold a Bachelor of Science in Business Management with the concentration of International Business from the University of Delaware. So this is what I really like and what I'm passionate about since graduating from December 2024. Rashid, could you go to the next slide, please? And now let's highlight one of Oman's strongest strategic advantage. So it's world-class connectivity infrastructure. So let's begin with airports. As Rebecca mentioned, she liked it a lot, and I also like it a lot. So Oman is home to 5 strategically located airports, each positioned within short flight distances to major population and economic areas. As there's the fact that Oman is almost 2 or 3 hours away from 30% of the world's population, which is considering is huge. So Oman has very huge potential. So this network enables a rapid regional access and strengthens Oman's role as a regional logistics and business hub. So moving on to ports, Oman, as you know, Oman's coastline is like 3,000 kilometers long. So ports are really important to Oman. Oman features a globally ranked and well-distributed port system. So first, going to talk about Duqm Port. So it's located on the central coast. It provides direct access to global shipping routes. It's equipped with a state-of-the-art dry dock facility, making it a key player in ship maintenance and repair in the region. And then talk about Salada. It's in the south of Oman, the most southern point of Oman, plays a critical role in international trade as part of the U.S. Freight Initiative. It screens cargo bound for the U.S. with an on-site U.S. Customs and Border Protection officer there due to the FTA. And then it ensures secure and efficient transshipment. And then thirdly, we talk about Sahar International Industrial Port. It's one of the big. This is the biggest port in Oman. It's situated just outside the state of Hormuz, which is pretty close to one of the biggest. It's 20% of the world's oil pass through that. It's a world-class facility capable of handling some of the world's largest vessels with a draft capacity of up to 18 meters. And then fourthly, we're going to talk about Port Sultan Qaboos, which is Oman's main maritime gateway. It was 10 years ago was the biggest port in Oman, but now it serves primarily as a hub for cruise tourism because it's located pretty close to Matrah, which is like one of the biggest touristy places in Oman, as well as finally Khasab Airport, which is the northern part of Oman, or northern part of, you literally have to go through the UAE to enter that part of Oman. So it's Khasab Airport, located in that far north. It's in that Hormuz Strait. So it caters mainly to traditional tourist ships and plays a vital role in regional cruise tourism. And now we're going to talk about one of the most important things that Oman has to offer, which is the road infrastructure. It was named top 5 in the world. So Oman boasts a modern highway network extending over 15,000 kilometers, connecting all regions of the country, linking efficiently with the neighbors UAE as well as Saudi Arabia. On the railway front, they're working hard on it now. So there's an ambitious Oman UAE railway project underway. This includes passenger stations in Sohar and Al Ain in the UAE and freight hubs in Sohar, Bremi, and Al Ain, paving the way for greater trade integration and people-to-people connectivity across the GCC. Can you go, please? The next slide, please. And now we're going to talk about the free trade zone and special economic zones in Oman. So Oman offers powerful incentives for global investors through its free trade and special economic zones designed to boost trade, logistics, and manufacturing. So some people would think that it's pretty similar, but it's not. So I'll explain a bit more about the differences. So a free trade zone is typically focused on re-exporting, logistics, and warehousing. So goods can be imported, stored, then processed, or re-exported without being subject to custom duties. So this is what Oman is trying to take advantage of, given the fact that we're only 10%, which is the lowest in the world. And in contrast, a special economic zone is broader in its scope. It's designed not only for trade and logistics, but also for industrial manufacturing, technology, or service-based industries. So it often provides enhanced infrastructure, long-term leases, as well as benefits like tax credit for over 30 years. And now we're going to, so the special economic zone, first we're going to talk about the special economic zone at Duqm, which is CZAD. It's located in Oman's central coast. It's the largest in the Middle East, North Africa region, which is huge for Oman because of its location. So it's strategically located on the Arabian Sea, outside the Strait of Hormuz, which is a bit south than Sohar. So it provides direct access to global shipping routes, vast development space, and advanced infrastructure for large-scale industrial. They have opened some automobile manufacturing there recently, so it's getting huge. And then farther south, Salalah Free Zone, located in the south of Oman, is a leading logistics and manufacturing hub. It offers proximity to major shipping lanes and fast-growing regional markets. It is ideal for companies targeting Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. So both zones offer streamlined regulations, investor-free policies, and excellent connectivity. Could you please go to the next slide?
Lisa, I think it's worth just mentioning because it's very interesting. Maybe not, no one's a space scientist on the call perhaps, but if you know people, that Duqm has a spaceport and they're launching rockets, and it's one of the best places on the planet for rocket launch. So as places like Cape Canaveral get overloaded and too much traffic, and we're going to be sending more and more things and satellites to space, Oman's really putting a lot of effort into the space program in Duqm. So that's just an interesting, because there's going to be a whole hub of activity and logistics and work and business around that. It's about an hour and a half south of Duqm. Thank you.
Definitely. Omans are like very ambitious about these sectors also. So in addition to Duqm and Salalah, Oman offers two other key zones that expand reach across the region. The Al Muzna Free Zone, which is located very near, like very close, almost like literally attached to the Yemeni border in southern Oman. It serves as a vital re-export and transit hub for goods entering Yemen, East Africa, as well as the GCC markets, making it a strategic link for regional trade. Meanwhile, a Suhar Free Zone, which is like the biggest one, like the amount of work it has been there for like over 10 years now. So it's positioned near the Strait of Hormuz, connects Oman to major markets, and its modern infrastructure and deep sea port plays a central role in reaching the Middle East as well as India and Africa because it's pretty close to that east coast of Oman. And together, these zones offer global investors diverse entry points, strong logistics ecosystems, and as well as easy access to high demand markets. Could you please go to the next slide? So two more key players in Oman's economic zone landscape are Khazain Economic City as well as Madain Industrial Estates. So Khazain is located in Barka near Muscat. It's strategically positioned in Oman's most populous region. Like Muscat and Barka, I think it's over like 50% of Oman's population. It offers excellent access to both local and global markets, making it a strong hub for distribution, logistics, and light manufacturing. On the other hand, Madain, the public establishment for industrial estates, operates over 10 industrial cities across the country. So these estates provide nationwide connectivity to ports, borders, major markets, as well as offering investors a well-integrated logistics and manufacturing ecosystem. So together, they round out a comprehensive national network of investment zones designed for scale, speed, and regional approach. Could you please go to the next slide? So the Public Authority for Special Economic Zones and Free Zone, which is OPAZ, oversees all of them almost. So oversees the special economic zones at Al-Duqm, Al-Muzna Free Zone, Suhar Free Zone, as well as Madain, industrial estates, as well as the Technology Park and Knowledge Oasis, Muscat. And now I'm going to talk about the tariffs on the electricities. There's two main structures in Oman, which is the industrial flat rate. So it's charged for all the companies on the same prices, while the residential is seasonal, so it changes between the summer and the winter. And now we'll hand it over to Harshal. So it's my pleasure to introduce Harshal, which he is the Director of Trade and Investment. So Harshal brings over a decade of experience in Oman's business landscape with diverse expertise across the trade development, investment promotion, and strategic partnerships. He's worked across government, nonprofits, as well as the private sector, making him the perfect person to help companies unlock opportunities through the US Oman Free Trade Agreement. So over to you, Harshal.
Thank you, Isa. Good morning, everyone stateside, and good evening to everyone in Asia and Africa. Isa kindly has given a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much again. I have been doing this for a decade now, helping in international business. I've done international trade for, as I said, 10 years now. I've worked with government sector and the private sector. I've handled multi-million dollar deals, ministerial delegations, and I've got a broad perspective of international business from there. I've been with OABC since 2023, and I am very passionate about building business relationships and bringing innovation and technology transfer to Oman and helping trade agreements through trade agreements, initiate growth in global markets for Oman. So today I'll be sharing insights about manufacturing and other investment opportunities in Oman. Oman has set a vision like Saudi Arabia, like UAE. Oman has Vision 2040. Vision 2040 highlights about what Oman wants to diversify into from oil and gas, which is the traditional revenue generating, source in Oman. The reason being, Oman has a lot of other critical resources like minerals, strategic location, and even good climate in certain parts of Oman, which is quite different from the Middle East, which can make it a hub for many new innovative businesses. And the Vision 2040 highlights that. I will be showing a few of those sectors in the slides ahead. The first one is energy. You can see mostly about renewables because oil and gas is pretty traditional. And Oman has been advancing rapidly towards renewable energy as part of Vision 2040. Oman is also committed to net zero carbon emissions by 2050. And it aims to generate 30% of its power from renewables by 2030. The focus is on large-scale solar, wind, and green hydrogen projects. A few of them are Ibri solar plant, which is planned to be completed by 2027, and the Dukum wind farm, which is also planned to be completed by 2027. Each one has a capacity of 500 MW and 250 MW. There are almost 10 renewable energy projects planned to be completed between 2027 and 29, and the combined capacity with a combined capacity of 2,300 megawatts. Oman will also soon announce its energy storage project in relation to green hydrogen, and also is developing a hydrogen corridor to supply green hydrogen rather than only consuming it. And yeah, apart from that, there is a energy transition policy by the Ministry of Energy and Minerals to diversify energy sources and promote low carbon technologies. Some other notable initiatives are the geothermal feasibility study to convert waste to biofuel. That's been being actively pursued by the Ministry of Energy. And community solar stations are being developed for health and educational facilities in Oman. Next sector is mining. So Oman traditionally used to mine a lot of copper. They are restarting it. The government authority is the Ministry of Mining, and they have set up a national vehicle for mining called Minerals Development of Oman. They are looking to utilize this resource of Oman largely for solar and semiconductor energy. You can see one of the projects here is actually silicon metal, wherein they are looking to partner with private investors globally to extract to make silicon ore from silica, and they have identified several locations in Oman which have silicon ore. Oman traditionally has been one of the largest exporters of gypsum in the world, and the first ferrochrome producer and exporter in the GCC. The MDO, the Minerals Development of Oman, has 12 concession areas in Oman for various minerals. Metals are copper, iron, and then minerals silica, limestone, marble, chromium, manganese, and granite. There is also a silica quartz mining project targeting 3 million tons of annual production. This is the second largest plant in the world, which is going to be completed this year. More details about these are available with us. There are 12 projects, so there's not enough space in the slide, but we would love to share those with you. You can reach out to us for them. The next sector is tourism. Tourism is actually a key pillar of Oman since a long time, and they are looking at much more. They are much more focused on ecotourism or luxury tourism more than mass tourism. Oman had more than 4 million tourists visit in 2023. and it targets to attract 11.7 million visitors by the year 2040. Because of its strategic location, it's less than 3 hours away by flight for more than 30% of the world's population. Oman also has its own national airline, Oman Air, which is diversifying and growing and going to new destinations in Europe, in Africa, and Asia. Priority segments, as I said, are luxury, adventure, and ecotourism. The most number of visitors in 2023 were from the GCC region, so those are regional visitors. And the most arrivals were in August because the south of Oman becomes a green haven in August. There is 3 months of monsoons in the south of Oman in the Dhofar region, which attracts a lot of tourists. And the season has actually started now early this year, so we are experiencing a lot of tourists coming to Oman. Apart from that, the GCC, the second highest were from India, Germany, and then Yemen because it's a neighbor, and China. But the fastest number of tourists, the fastest growth from in the number of tourists is from China, and we are experiencing that several tourists who come to the region, either to Saudi or UAE, are now stopping by Oman as well, considering it a potential tourism destination, which offers them not the glam sham, but the peaceful, quiet, and tranquility. Two of the projects highlighted here, which the government has set for private investment, is the Tourist Diving Club project. They really want to create a diving ecosystem in Oman because Oman has one of the most beautiful marine life I have seen in the world. And it is more prevalent because of its long coastline and the number of islands on those long coastline. So they want to develop this tourist project for divers at Al Halaniyat Islands. And the second one is Yeti and Yankat investment. That's 532,000 square meter land, of which 400,000 square meters available for development. And it will be in partnership with the government and a master developer. I would like to highlight Yeti has also one of the best golf courses in the world. You can definitely Google it and see that President Trump also is having one of his golf courses made in Yeti. And the next sector is manufacturing. So as Rebecca highlighted that, and even Isa did that, Oman has set up this ecosystem for manufacturing. It is a great place because of the number of FTAs it has with so many countries in the world for international manufacturers to set up in Oman. 5.5 billion of the GDP FDI was in Q3 2024 was from manufacturing. Exports are 62.7 billion in 2024, increasing by 6.7% from the previous year. The largest exports are pharma products, medical supplies, because we have a lot of downstream plastic products. I'll talk more about it ahead. Petrochemicals, food and beverages, construction materials, textiles, plastic packaging, electric equipment, metals, and all of these are open for more investment as well, because the FTA with the US is underutilized, and still Oman has several more FTAs, and it can be a key hub for manufacturing and exporting. Two of the opportunities highlighted in manufacturing by the government are outsourcing semiconductors assembly and testing. Rebecca touched upon the semiconductor industry in Oman, and we have a success story from an American company which set up in Oman and is experiencing tremendous growth. So in this semiconductor facility, the government is keen to co-invest and provide several incentives. Aquaculture, because of Oman's prominence in fishing and its coast, there is a aquaculture project for shrimp farming, which is an initiative in the fisheries sector in the Vilayat or the area of Dukum, near the Dukum free zone. And it's a closed recycle system which has expected internal return rate of 21% in 6 years. So that's a very large, significant aquaculture project in Oman. There are several more projects which we would love to highlight. You can reach out to us to know more about them. Talking about downstream plastic products, the OQ, the government's arm of in oil and gas, has a program called Ladayan. They have a polymer park in the north of Oman, but they have this program nationwide, wherein they focus on manufacturing downstream plastic products. What's important to know is OQ has been doing this for a long time. They have done significant investments to increase their capacity and have a wide variety of polymers to offer. If you're a film manufacturer or your product is manufactured through extrusion or in any other plastics, if you need medical grade plastics, Ladayan is happy to help. They also provide incentives across the nation for manufacturing in terms of cashbacks on annual commitments. I have highlighted them here. So the rebate changes with different areas of manufacturing, but these are the average percentages. You get rebates for manufacturing downstream plastics in Oman. And that's all from my side. I would like to open the floor for any questions from all of you.
Fantastic. Really great information. Rebecca, oh my, this is really great. I'd like to first, before we take some questions, to go to Adel Alawadi. Adel is the co-founder and chairman of the corporate group. He's also the executive director for Global Chamber. He's based in Dubai, but he and his team are covering the region. And I'd love to hear, Adel, from you in terms of your perspective of what you've heard today and any of the, I mean, we could talk for hours about the contrasts between some of the other regions, but in just a few minutes, could you recap what you heard and some of the things we should be thinking about?
Sure, definitely. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. We at the Global Group, we have our base here in UAE, Saudi Arabia. We also have a base in Oman, so great to be there. Thanks, Rebecca, Isa, and Harshal, highlighting on the vision of 2040 and a bit diversion into and deep dive into those sectors and some of those agenda under 2040. But I think in a summary, it's imperative that the economic diversification is going on in Oman. So diversifying from the traditional oil to building knowledge, technology-driven economy. And this is more on investing on digital infrastructure and encouraging more research and development and nurturing new industries. And I think Oman is targeting approximately 8 key sectors in the areas of information and communication, manufacturing, green energy, tourism, technology, ports and logistics, mining, fisheries, and agriculture. We have seen also in year 2020 onwards a bit of removing and introducing new policies and the minimum capital requirements and allowing 100% foreign ownership in Muscat in many sectors. This resulted in attracting more foreign direct investment and strengthening the private sectors and key components of participation of the private sectors together with the governments to achieve the vision and reform and look for the opportunities. A bit of focus, I think there is in each country. I mean, in the GCC is mainly driven by family businesses and the route of a trading activities that is going between this region and west and east from other continents as well. That we see always there's a lot of small and medium enterprises in each country, and specifically in Oman. We see that there is a bigger strategy, maybe I think Rebecca, and focus on future fund Oman, which is 5.2 billion investment, focusing on key sectors and supporting this economy. But in a nutshell, I mean, Oman is not competing with UAE, neither UAE is competing with Saudi, and I think the region is complementing each other, and they all have their own visions of 2030, 2040, and so forth. But significantly, the recent and this opens opportunity for the Gulf region to work together and bring more opportunities for investors and for businesses to this region. So I just want to share the last thing before I end this presentation is that the UAE and Oman have recently strengthened their collaboration and their bilateral agreements significantly more on investment partnerships for helping to develop the trade and tourism, which was also discussed today, and more of economic cooperation. So a major focus was in developing projects in renewable energy, green metals, which also Harshal highlighted in few projects, railway connectivity and digital infrastructure. There was few investment partnership deal that was signed between UAE and Oman for the next decade to develop these infrastructure projects and investment agreements. That was a total of about 35 billion US dollars. This would be focused on industrial and energy mega projects between both countries, railway connectivity between UAE and Oman that connects to the GCC countries and GCC's major cities, digital infrastructure and technology fund. So both countries are making a fund available for investment and for businesses. And they're looking at more increase in the non-oil trade activity. We talked about the strengthening trade ties between both countries and the neighbors and the region, more investment incentives. And so these are all bilateral agreements between both countries, and the GCC is strengthening and supporting the industries and investments in the region.
Fantastic. Thank you, Adel, and congratulations on your continued work. I'll open up the floor for questions. If you've got a question, either raise your hand or unmute yourself, and we're happy to hear from you. And Isa, go Blue Hens. Congratulations on your University of Delaware education. It's great to see you. Rebecca, how did you get involved with Oman? What is the connection with you? And it sounds like both you and your husband are living there.
Yeah, we actually came in 2013 to study Arabic language with the idea that we were going to move to Yemen and work at a nonprofit serving refugees. Yemen continued to deteriorate. We fell in love with where we were, and we had kids at that point. So we thought, well, maybe we'll just stay put and see if we could do some tax-free income generation for the Olsen family, because the lifestyle really attracted us, the people, we live on the beach. One thing we didn't touch on in terms of lifestyle is that the women all work. Like all my Omani women friends are working, unlike the scene I kind of grew up in our culture in upstate New York. And they have maids and support so that, I feel like I've been able to really advance my career. So it wasn't what we expected, but we've stayed this long. And I meet people all the time who came for 2-year contracts or something and have been there for 20 years, or who have left Oman and been like, I'm back to wherever. And then they show up again. They've sold everything. They did a big goodbye, and 2 years later they return. So anyway, that's our story in short. Yeah.
What a great story. That congratulations. And Isa, are you originally from Oman and then you went to the US for your education and now you're back? Is that what's going on?
Yes, so in 2020, I got a government scholarship. So they give it to the top 1% academic students in the country. So it's a fully paid scholarship, and I've studied there from 2020 to 2024.
What should Americans, what should Europeans really take from your experience and the contrast between Oman and their countries?
So it's a bit different. Like Oman is a little bit more slow paced, and the US is very fast paced. Like for example, we had New York, which is like an hour 30 minutes away. We don't have skyscrapers in Oman. Everything is like chill, and everything is pretty developed in the US. So I feel Oman has like a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of things that you can really like. There's still like more investment that's needed, and I think we have a lot of opportunities from people outside to come in here.
Okay. Well, Newark, Delaware is pretty low rise as well, right?
But there's some major cities nearby, so it was pretty nice, like Washington, D.C., New York. So we enjoyed our weekends there.
Fantastic. No, that's where I started my career in that area with the DuPont company. So I'm very familiar with Newark. I don't see anyone with questions. I think
Sorry to interrupt, Doug. There's one
Oh,
about
there is.
visas. I thought maybe Harshal could answer it because he helps a lot of people with their visa questions at
Okay,
OAC.
Harshal, do you want to take that one?
Yeah. Okay, Shadia, thank you for your question. Firstly, to visit Oman, most countries have a visa on arrival. You can check your eligibility to get a visa in Oman from the government's website. I'll link it here for everyone's convenience. To do business in Oman, foreigners are allowed to own 100% of companies in the mainland or free zones or economic zones. The advantage of opening a company in a free zone or an economic zone is the tax holiday. So Oman has corporate tax, but no personal tax as of now, income tax. It was in the news that Oman will soon be the first GCC country to have personal income tax, but that's it will affect only 1% of the Omani population. So it is pretty high, and it's poised to start in 2028. But about corporate tax, certain smaller companies face a 3% corporate tax, and the larger companies face 15% corporate tax. But in the free zones, you get a holiday for that up to 30 years. And so, as a 100% business owner, you are eligible to get an investor visa. Another way to get an investor visa is investing in a freehold property in Oman. If you purchase a freehold property in Oman, you get an investor visa, which is renewable for up to 99 years.
One
Fantastic.
other thing to mention, because you mentioned US citizens, the FTA isn't just about duty-free access. We didn't get into all of it today, but it means we have national treatment as Americans. So for a long time, only Americans could open a company here without an Omani partner. And then the new foreign investment law came out and anyone could open a company without an Omani partner. But we're still supposed to be treated the same. So there are certain things that come out, new regulations, and if they violate the FTA, if we're not being treated like a national, then they'll say this Americans are exempted. So that's important to know if you're thinking about bringing an American business in.
Thank you, everybody, for attending today. We need to wrap up because we're at the top of the hour. But I would like to ask Rebecca for like a 1-minute wrap up of what we should take away. I also just want to emphasize this was, I mean, we can't cover all the opportunities in Oman, but this is about as good as you can do it in an hour. The information was just really outstanding. And so we'll be doing more of these. And certainly with Global Chamber, we're everywhere. So there's lots of opportunities all over the world. I think this is an opportunity, though, that most people don't know about. And I think you alluded to that, Rebecca, at the beginning, that UAE and Saudi Arabia somewhat overshadow what's happening in Oman, and we shouldn't overlook what's happening there. And you made that very clear. Thank you for waking us up. Any kind of final comments you'd like to make?
No, you've just summed up my summary, but I think the last thing I'd say is to just keep sharing. I mean, this group of people who's in the Global Chamber seem to be well-connected, thoughtful business leaders who have their own networks as well. And so I think if something I've said or our team said today, kind of you thought, I know someone in the semiconductor industry, or I think just telling your friends as well and your colleagues and kind of helping open those doors, because Oman is good at many things, but I wouldn't say marketing itself is the top one. I'm happy to say that on this call. And that's part of the hidden gem aspect that people love. Like a lot of the tourists who come there, I love it. It feels like I found a secret. That's not where Oman wants to stay. So, spread the word and keep in touch. Please do add us on LinkedIn. We're a friendly bunch. And we do have our own membership. So for those who are pretty serious about, hey, I think I'm actually wanting to be there and I can't be on the ground yet, but I need some help, then check out our website at oabc.org. Thanks, Doug, for the opportunity.
Hi, I just want to add a few comments, please, if you allow me, Doug and Rebecca. My name is Arab Khan, and I'm from India.
We do need to close down. I'm sorry, but why don't you send me an email and we'll get the information out. Thank you, Arab. Rebecca and Harshal and Issa, thank you so much for your expertise and sharing today. And Adele Alawadi, thank you always for your knowledge and expertise. Great summary and great contrasting with the other opportunities as well. Thanks, Jem, for putting this event on together and with the rest of the team, along with all of our speakers. We have a number of other events coming up today even. We do over 700 events this year, so we have a lot going on. Jump in when you can. Our weekly global real estate event, I think, is the one that's coming up in about an hour or so. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day and week. And again, Rebecca, thank you and your team. Take care, everybody.
So, bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.